In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at the current conditions and diving into the upcoming pattern where there is 2 or more major snowstorms coming up for the eastern regions of the United States, including potentially the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. So we're going to be taking a look at all these things within this video. We see that the activity out west has really slowed down compared to the past few days. We can see there is some broad low pressure here bringing some showery activity, both in the form of rainfall and snowfall, depending on where you're looking. But this is overall much more minor than what we have been seeing. And on the contrary here, we do have a major system here around northern Illinois, some broad low pressure, and this is causing a cold front, warm front dynamic here. And this is creating some possibility for some severe weather. We saw quite a bit of that yesterday, and we're seeing a couple of cold fronts here extending down. So it's this kind of weird system where we have multiple different frontal boundaries. But overall, what we're seeing is some activity in here, not quite as much. And then on the eastern end, we're seeing a bit more, but it looks more showery than anything, if you ask me. And then on the northern end of things, we do see some snowfall here north of the occluded front, and that is where we're seeing pretty much the most impacts. And then along this warm front here, more showery activity, heavier showers, both in the form of freezing rain and rainfall. Now let's zoom into some different areas here. First off, we see some snowfall across the desert, so Utah, here, Idaho, and then even into Nevada, we're seeing some of this activity. And then as we look towards more central regions of California, we do see that there is some showery activity here taking place. Now, as we take a look out further east, we can see that on the northern end of things for Iowa, Wisconsin, the UP, into Minnesota as well, we're seeing this moderate to heavy snowfall in these areas. The whites being very heavy, grays being lighter. And then if we take a look at this UP of Michigan here, we can see these blues taking place in here, and this is extremely heavy snowfall taking place, whiteout conditions within those blues, and even the northern regions of the lower peninsula is seeing similar conditions there. So definitely very impactful conditions taking place. Now as we work our way very close to this low, we can see that there is a little bit more thunderstorm activity taking place here, especially on the eastern end. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in here, I guess, for Indianapolis. No, that's just to the east of Indianapolis here, so we'll try to get a town here. Fortville, kind of south of Fortville, south of Pendleton, and north of Shirley there in Indiana is seeing a severe thunderstorm warning there, but honestly, it looks much more active here on this eastern front here. Certainly seeing quite a bit of heavier showers and some thunderstorms developing here for the southeast. Nothing severe yet, however. And then as we work our way further north up the coast here, we can see more, again, heavier showers taking place in here. Pretty consistent rainfall in here, and then freezing rain for areas in here, and even snowfall on the very northern extent of things. But this is all associated with the warm front, so we're going to see that rain snow line continue to get pushed northward like this as the showers move through. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is focus in on the upcoming pattern where, again, there's multiple major snowstorms to take a look at. Now here we are taking a look at that European model. We see this storm goes ahead and moves out. We do see some snowfall here for a lot of the interior northeast, portions of the Ohio Valley as well with this system as time moves on. And we're just going to continue things along here. And what we start to see is more of this Gulf energy moving up just like this. And this is really going to be the fuel for our first of 2 major snowstorms that we're tracking here. We see already some snowfall coming together here for the plains, but once this combines with this Gulf energy, that's when we're going to see something big happen in that corridor there. So let's keep going, and we see a lot of moisture being thrown into the jet stream here. So we see this all getting infused, the cold air and energy up here as well. And look what happens. This is by Sunday the 22nd, and later on in that day, we see a lot of this moisture moving right up the east coast just like this, and we see a fairly decent snowstorm here for Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts there. And as we continue on, we see major snowfall persist for quite a few hours as that becomes a coastal low, really becoming a nor'easter there. It's going to be quite a warm storm, so we're going to have to really watch and see. But I mean, it's been a very mild winter. It's going to be one of the most major snowstorms we've seen so far this winter. And I know that's not saying a whole lot, but it will end up being one of the most major that we've seen so far. Now we're going to see this piece of energy follow suit here around the 25th time frame. We see the same deal, maybe more moisture this time around, as we just see this moisture really surging in from the Gulf of Mexico along this. We again have all this energy back here as well. And this all just tracks right up the coast. This storm looks pretty messy as well, but I mean, there is a lot of heavy snowfall to work with here. I think accumulations could be pretty significant. And we follow this one up here with a very favorable pattern. We can see that if any sort of Gulf moisture tries to move along this jet stream, it's going to be in prime position to bring a major snowstorm at this point, so anytime after the 25th. We clearly also have a positive PNA building in here as it looks, and really significant cold air moving in to the eastern half of the nation, evidently. As we continue things on, we see a bit of a clipper system with some of this cold moving in. And really we end things off here at the 29th, looking cold and snowy for a lot of the eastern United States. And I mean, as we take a look at the total precipitation, it is so evident that all of this moisture is coming from the Gulf here. We can literally just track it and see that all this moisture is heading up from the Gulf. And as we take a look at that total snowfall, we could see, anywhere from 1 to 3 feet in both of these corridors here. Really, so we see some of the upper Midwest, Great Lakes seeing some of these heavy amounts, and then the Ohio Valley and through the Northeast as well. Certainly some of the most intense winter conditions we've seen so far this winter, really more than we could say before. Anywhere in the grays is a dusting, if anything. Blues being 2 to 6 inches of snowfall, purple 6 to 10, pinks 10 to 20 there, and then your pastel blue is going to be 20 to 35. We see a lot of this up here for the Great Lakes and the mountainous regions of the Northeast here. And then we even see 35 inches plus in those kind of more pink pastels like we see up here. And that is going to be 35 inches plus. Now for the GFS model, I just want to walk us through this. We see you get storm number 1 here. Again, major snowfall setting up here around Monday the 23rd, Sunday into Monday. There for Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, even Ohio on the back end of things. We're seeing this activity take place. Still a very, very major snowstorm here on the GFS model as well. And we get storm number 2, again, a very moist storm. Definitely has plenty to work with, but we get a much, much further west solution here on the GFS model across the Ohio Valley and into the upper Midwest and Great Lakes primarily. That's where we're seeing the snowfall on this one. And then on the very back end of things, we see that this cold air is able to move in and bring snowfall a tiny bit to some of these regions, maybe showery activity. Certainly a little bit less major here than the European model. We do get a pretty interesting clipper system that does this, as you can see, moving very far south there around the 28th, which would be very interesting. Pretty close to a connection here as we get another Gulf system wanting to move up, but just not enough cold air there. So we don't really get much of anything with that. But there is opportunity here according to the GFS model as well. And then quickly, let's move through the Canadian model, which storm number 1, again, we're getting major snowfall here in the Northeast, and now all 3 models we're seeing that take place. Storm number 2 here, this is looking more and more favorable on the Canadian model every run. We do see snowfall here on the back end of things there for the 25th into the 26th. And then we get pretty persistent cold air at least through the 29th, just like we saw on all of the other models. So that seems to be the trend. That seems to be what we're taking a look at here. We're going to continue to track all of these things, but as of now, all 3 models have some sort of major snowstorm, with the first one hitting the east, and then that storm number 2, some of the models obviously are showing more of a Great Lakes and Ohio Valley solution, and then some are very far east for the eastern United States. We're going to track that one. Only time will really be able to tell, but there's definitely some question marks there, to say the least. Anyway, be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. Also, you can hit that bell icon and hit all videos to get daily notifications when we do upload. Also, like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below because I love hearing from you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video.